awful-smelling Froot Loops, wheat waffles with bacteria, and teeth-breaking Corn Flakes. Millions of people eat Kellogg's tasty snacks and sugary cereals, but some of its products have caused some serious harm. Dig'em Frog might not make total sense as a mascot, but that hasn't stopped Kellogg's Honey Smacks from being one of the tastiest cereal offerings under the Kellogg's banner.
Tastes so sweet. You'll hop when you eat. Dig 'em.
Fans were left wanting in June 2018 when Kellogg suddenly pulled all boxes of the puffed wheat cereal amid a salmonella outbreak. The outbreak impacted at least 73 people across 31 states and hospitalized 24, and the FDA and CDA tied it back to the breakfast cereal. While salmonella can be mild for some people, it can often trigger serious sickness or diarrhea, especially in the old, young, or those with compromised immune systems. It can even be fatal, although fortunately, no deaths were recorded in this instance. The FDA warned customers to throw away all boxes of Honey Smacks produced from 2017 onwards, leaving the cereal noticeably absent from the grocery shelves for several months. It only returned in October 2018. The manufacturing company behind Honey Smacks, Kerry Inc., was accused of producing the cereal in unsanitary conditions in its Illinois premises. It later pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor of distributing adulterated cereal and agreed to pay a hefty fine of over $19 million, the largest criminal penalty ever enforced in a food safety case. Kellogg's took a massive hit in June 2016 when it was forced to recall over 20 different sweet treats, including cookies sold under the brands Keebler, Famous Amos, and Mother's. The recall came as a consequence of another recall initiated by one of Kellogg's suppliers, Graincraft, which realized that its wheat flour potentially contained a small amount of peanut residue. Kellogg's wasn't the only brand affected. Frito-Lay and Hostess brands also pulled products made with Graincraft flour. Kellogg's didn't seem too worried, releasing a statement that said, "While consumers with severe peanut allergies should avoid the recalled products, the FDA has stated that the amount of peanut exposure from the flour is low and not expected to cause adverse health effects in the vast majority of peanut allergic consumers." Customers were asked to throw away affected products and request a refund, as even the slightest risk of peanut traces reaching someone with a severe nut allergy is too high to ignore. Fortunately, the company didn't receive any complaints from those who'd already purchased one of the affected products. Few words spark panic in the food industry, quite like listeria. Like salmonella, listeria infections are usually pretty mild, but they do have the potential to be serious for unborn or newborn babies, pregnant women, or those with weakened immune systems, and can require antibiotics to bring under control. In 2016, routine tests identified Listeria monocytogenes bacteria in certain batches of Eggo Nutri-Grain whole wheat waffles.
Lego my Eggo, please.
While the company received no reports of illness, it still recalled approximately 10,000 cases of waffles in 25 states out of an abundance of caution. Only boxes of the Nutri-Grain whole wheat variety with use by dates of November 21st or November 22nd, 2017 were affected. As per a statement issued by Kellogg's, the company also rushed to resolve any issues in its sanitation process that could lead to similar issues in the future. This included halting production on the waffles and conducting a deep sanitary clean of the area where they were made. The company's response was later praised by the Washington Post as a sign of progress in preventing food-related illness. A blend of rice and wheat flakes and crunchy, freeze-dried strawberries. Special K red berries is considered one of Kellogg's healthier breakfast offerings. In February 2013, Kellogg's pulled a limited number of this maybe healthy, maybe not cereal from shelves over fears that it contained glass fragments. All boxes of Special K red berries with certain UPCs and use-by dates were potentially affected. This tallied up to a total of 36,000 packages nationwide. Luckily for Kellogg's, there were once again no reports of any injuries. While the company never confirmed how glass fragments could have possibly found their way into one of the cereal's ingredients, it did reassure customers that it would review its processes and make the necessary changes to ensure nothing like this happened in the future. It didn't matter if you were Team Frosted or Unfrosted in October 2012, because Kellogg's recalled both varieties of mini wheats over fears of contamination. This time, Frosted Mini Wheats Bite Size Original and Mini Wheats Unfrosted Bite Size were pulled from shelves due to the possibility that they contained small fragments of metal mesh. The recall affected 2.8 million boxes of cereal and reportedly cost Kellogg's somewhere between $20 to $30 million that quarter. While Kellogg's advertised the recall on its public platforms and Facebook, Some customers reportedly only found out days later, much to their irritation. The brand stressed that the odds of finding or eating any pieces of metal mesh were extremely low, and told the Wall Street Journal there was little chance the affected food would cause injury. Unsurprisingly, customers were still pretty put off by the idea of chowing down on metal first thing in the morning. It also didn't help Kellogg's case that some people were seemingly able to run a rare earth magnet over the cereal, picking up multiple grains in the process. One of the biggest Kellogg's recalls to date occurred in June 2010, after multiple customer complaints about an unusual smell emanating from their boxes of Apple Jacks, Corn Pops, Froot Loops, and Honey Smacks. The company decided to recall a whopping 28 million boxes and offered a refund to anyone who'd purchased the cereal. As it turns out, the reason behind the smell had nothing to do with the cereal itself. After an investigation, Kellogg's revealed that a hydrocarbon called methylnaphthalene, found in the paraffin wax used in each box's plastic liners, was responsible for the odor. Kellogg's emphasized that the hydrocarbons were not present at harmful levels, and that it was working with its supplier to avoid a repeat issue. It added that the same chemical is often used as a protective coating for certain fruits, vegetables, and cheeses. Amid reports that the brand had destroyed all of the affected liners before initiating its recall, U.S. lawmakers asked Kellogg's a month later to hand over its documents on the issue. According to the Washington Post, it proved a huge gap in the FDA's knowledge about the chemicals increasingly cropping up in everyday items, which also means a lack of information about the potential health risks. One of the original Pop-Tart varieties, Frosted Blueberry, has outlived many novelty flavors introduced over the years, with its winning combo of blueberry-flavored filling and a lightly sprinkled frosted topping. While they may taste like blueberry, these Pop-Tarts are light on actual fruit. Dried blueberries are low on the ingredients list, coming in behind high-fructose corn syrup, sugar, and salt. One thing you won't find mentioned anywhere in that ingredients list is milk, which is exactly why Kellogg's was forced to recall its Frosted Blueberry Pop-Tarts in December 2006. Roughly 1,000 cartons of the Pop-Tarts were distributed in 22 states before Kellogg's realized that the toaster pastries in each box may contain undisclosed milk, posing a potential issue to those with lactose intolerance or dairy allergies.
I got them blueberry Pop-Tart blues!
The potential mix-up was identified after Kellogg's discovered that some of its hot fudge sundae Pop-Tarts had accidentally been put in cartons labeled as the milk-free Frosted Blueberry. While no allergic reactions were reported, the company still decided to recall all affected products. While you can find Kellogg's cereals in 180 countries dotted around the world, they're typically significantly different from those found in the US. Not only do they go by alter egos in other regions, but multiple ingredients used stateside are banned in select countries for health reasons. Back in July 2004, Kellogg's was forced to recall both Coco Pops and Rice Bubbles in Australia and New Zealand after it made an alarming discovery. Multiple boxes contained thin pieces of stainless steel wire. While Kellogg's didn't explain how exactly this wire got mixed up with puffed rice, it did claim that it was reviewing its manufacturing processes in the wake of the incident. It also said in a statement, "Kellogg apologizes to all our consumers and thanks those who alerted the company to the incident. We ask anyone with family and friends who may have purchased any of these products to contact them in case they may not be aware of this recall." Despite the name, you won't find any brown sugar in brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. Instead, you'll find sweet cinnamon-flavored filling with a crispy layer of brown frosting, which has more to do with the use of caramel color than actual brown sugar. But that's not the part of the ingredients list that got this flavor recalled. In December 2002, Kellogg's announced this flavor of toaster pastries could possibly contain eggs, despite eggs not being mentioned on the box. 730,000 boxes were recalled in total across the US and Caribbean, fortunately without anyone reporting an allergic reaction linked to them. The same can't be said for the vegans who may have accidentally broken their one rule with this brown sugar-flavored box of lies. Back in the 1890s, brothers John Harvey Kellogg and Will Keith Kellogg invented Corn Flakes as a sort of health food for patients at Battle Creek Sanitarium.
You start your day a better way with Corn Flakes in the morning.
These days, few would dub Kellogg's Corn Flakes a health food, especially its chocolate variety, but few would expect to choke on a bowl either. In March 2024, Kellogg's pulled its chocolate-flavored Corn Flakes from UK shelves for exactly that reason. A handful of complaints pointed out that certain boxes contained hard lumps that didn't dissolve or soften in milk, which could also potentially damage teeth. A Kellogg spokesperson said in a press release that the company had decided to recall all product, but stressed that the risk of injury was minimal. All consumers owning 450-gram boxes with use-by dates between December 6, 2024 and April 28, 2024 were advised to throw them away ASAP and contact Kellogg's for a refund.